Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Forgotten Favorites. Of course, this is the show we're doing each and every day here throughout the month of August, taking a look at some cool obscurities, rarities, little talked about albums from bands you may have heard of, may never have heard of. Maybe you heard of the band, never listened to their music. Maybe you know the band quite well, but it's one of those albums that nobody ever talks about, didn't really sell any well, kind of like forgotten in their catalog. Well, not by me. So these are all going to be albums that I like quite a bit. There's going to be some instances here where these are albums that I haven't listened to in quite a while, but I'm digging out of my stacks, out of my collection to revisit, to talk to you guys about in hopes that you will either visit for the first time or re-listen and revisit, okay, just like me, and then let us know what you think, right? So today we've got a pretty interesting, this is like a one-and-done band, somewhat of a mild super group. This album's from 1980. It's the Dudek, Finnegan, Krueger band. Okay, pretty cool album cover, pretty cool logo for the band. So, of course, those of you probably are well aware of Mr. Les Dudek, a very, very good guitar player who spent some time in the Allman Brothers, spent some time with Boz Scaggs, spent some time with Cher, spent some time with Steve Miller. He was much traveled throughout the 70s and the early 80s. Also had some really cool solo albums as well. And then we've got Mike Finnegan on keyboards and vocals and Jim Krueger on guitars and vocals. Both those two guys played with Dave Mason for a number of years. That's where they kind of, got their little claim to fame. In addition, on the album on drums, we've got Bill Meeker. We got Trey Thompson on bass, with additional things here and there from Max Gronenthal on keyboards, James Newton Howard, additional keys, and Bobby Hall on conga and percussion and things like that. So this is the Wounded Bird reissue. There's the guys. There they are once again right there. So, this is a little bit different than some of the stuff we've been talking about here on Forgotten Favorites this month. We've talked about a lot of prog and some fusion and some metal and classic hard rock and things like that. This is more of the kind of, what shall we say, soft rock, straight rock, arguably also, you may want to call it yacht rock. That's this term that keeps getting floated about in recent years. Yacht rock, the kind of breezy, kind of West Coast sound that's rock and roll, but got little jazzy and pop bits and all that kind of stuff. Easy listening, like to sit on your yacht while you're out on the ocean, enjoying a cold drink, and just, pleasant sounding rock music. That's this album in a nutshell. It's quite good, though, with really good songs and good songwriting. You've got some great vocals, great harmonies. All right, think kind of like similar period Doobie Brothers, right? So the whole, kind of like the Taking It to the Streets and What a Fool Believes, and the Michael McDonald era, kind of breezy. Maybe it's probably a little more rockin' than that era of Doobie Brothers. But another good band too. Another two other good bands like Player. Player had all those breezy harmonies and things like that, but they rocked. Pablo Cruz, too. That's pretty much what you get here. Really great vocal harmonies, catchy songs, tasty guitar playing from Les Dudek, lots of keyboards. You listen to this album, you can almost sense that if these guys really wanted to go off the rails and do something really adventurous, they could have. But, more often than not, they just settle back into this kind of funky pop rock type of thing, which is okay, because it's a good album. And you listen to this now, today, in 2021, and you're thinking, geez, why didn't this, take off with the general public? Some really great songs on here. You got Angels Fall, which kicks it off. Really memorable rock track. Great vocal harmonies, cool chorus. Just Like the Weather, another really pleasant song. Drinking Alone is as catchy as all hell. I spend my time in drinking alone. It's so hook laden. You listen to the song now and you're like, God, why wasn't that all over the radio? Very cool song. I Know You're In There, another really good, strong track, and that rocks. It's all about you. Just Be Happy. That's Wrong. And You Cut So Deep. Also very memorable, haunting chorus on that. Just really fun stuff. You got a couple of previously unreleased bonus tracks on this reissue. You got Living in Hollywood and The Stranger. Because, otherwise it's not that long of an album. But again, this is 1980, so most albums were generally 35, 40 minutes about that. And that's kind of what this is here as well. But really tasty playing. Like I said, a lot of good keyboards. A lot of good keyboards. Dudek's guitar, he doesn't overplay. He was never kind of that guy anyway, although the guy is a monster player. But really tasty, kind of bluesy, jazzy rock solos sprinkled all throughout this. Some cool riffs. Most of the guys in the band add vocals, so they have these multi-tracked vocal harmonies, which is really good. It's just a really good pop rock album with some really good instrumentation, and had all the tools to be a big band, but unfortunately, one album and done. That's all you get. The Dudek, Finnegan, Krueger band, otherwise known as the DFK band. Check it out if you can still get a copy of this. I like it. Like I said, if you like any of those bands I mentioned before, if you like late 70s, early 80s, Doobie Brothers, Player, Pablo Cruz, maybe Ambrosia, kind of like that soft rock that's kind of, has some really good instrumentation, but it's very accessible, that sort of thing. I think you'll like this. The DFK band, Dudek, Finnegan, Krueger. Good stuff. Really solid. I'm glad I kind of pulled this out and revisited. I've actually listened to this multiple times over the last couple days, and I was like, geez, why haven't I listened to this in all these years? Because it's quite good. So check it out and report back. Let us know what you think. If you're already well familiar with the band, please put in your 2 cents down in the comments below, but I'm curious to see what everybody's thinking of this album. All right, and we'll be back tomorrow with yet another forgotten favorite as we kind of finish up the month of August and get ready to move into our favorite live albums by year. So we're going to do so for all the days of the month. I'm going to pick a starting and ending point. All right, we're probably going to go back to the late 60s and go up to the early 90s. So we got 31 days in September. So we're going to get each year. I'm going to pick my favorite live album from that year. I'm sure folks are waiting for that because obviously, the Forgotten Favorites month, not a lot of people watching these shows, but I don't care. I'm doing them anyway. So I'm sure people are getting back to me doing like these more like kind of, people loved the album by year thing that we did last year. People loved the band A to Z, and people tune into that in droves. But stuff like this, where you're talking about bands that people don't know, they're just kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to watch that video because I never heard of that band before. Which is a shame. I know we have the normal viewers who do like to watch stuff like this, and they do want to find music they hadn't heard before, but the general public, the general subscribership to Sea of Tranquility is not interested in hearing about bands they don't know. That's just the facts. So I wish it was different, but it's not. But I'm having fun doing these every day, and I know we have at least 1,000 or 2 people who watch every day who are interested in hearing stuff they've never heard before. So that, that's okay. So we're doing this for the month, and hopefully I've exposed you guys to some stuff you've never heard before. That's the key, right? That's what it's all about. Next month we'll go back to talking about a lot of the same old bands, because that's what everybody wants to hear. So anyway, that's okay. That's fun too, right? That's fun too. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Coming up on the channel here tonight on the Monsters Den, we've got another epic show for you. We've got Jamie Laszlo, Dan Brown, and myself, joined by none other than, once again, Mr. Mike Portnoy, drummer extraordinaire, true superstar. He is a big David Lynch fan, so tonight we're going to be ranking our 5 favorite albums from director David Lynch, who's got some really cool thriller, drama, horror, psychological, this, that, or the other thing. Some really cool films. It was a lot of fun revisiting a lot of his films over the last couple of weeks, and equally hard for me putting together my top 5 favorite list. But we spent an exhaustive amount of time rewatching and then talking about the films of David Lynch and ranking them. So that is coming up tonight at 8 o'clock. Do not miss it. Tomorrow morning at the Funhouse, Martin Popoff and I will be kind of doing the ranking the albums thing. We're going to rank the albums of new wave of British heavy metal legends Witchfind. So that's coming up tomorrow morning. And then over the weekend, we've got album homework assignment. This week, you've got Armando Venditti going up against Eric Porter. Tune in to see which albums they've assigned each other and what each thought of their assignment. So that is coming up Sunday. The following Sunday, we've got Rand Kelly going up against George LeMay. So tune in for that and see what they have assigned each other and what they have to say about the albums that they were given. So really fun show. If you haven't seen album homework assignments, those premiere every Sunday. Okay, so stay tuned for each and every week another album homework assignment with a different duo going at it. So there's lots more in the works for that in the coming weeks and months. So stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't. Also, click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content. If you want to make a channel donation so we can keep buying more music, more movies, and stuff to talk about here on the channel, that's what we do with that money. So the link to the Ko-Fi page is below. The link to our merch page is there as well if you want to check out all the cool new Sea of Tranquility shirts and hoodies and hats and caps and stickers and coffee mugs for the various shows we do here in the Prague Sea, Monsters Den, Hudson Valley Squares. We've got shirts for all of those. We've got all sorts of cool SOT logo shirts, a lot of the cool prog and metal themed shirts, lots of stuff. We also, my second channel, Comic Book Geezers, we have merch for that as well on the same page. So a lot of good stuff. And of course, the link to seaoftranquility.org, our webzine that has now been on the internet for 20 years here in 2021. So thanks for watching, everybody, because of course we are here on YouTube all the damn time. I am Pete Pardo. See you tonight on the Monsters Den. Take care. Bye-bye.